You would now tapped into the Blessed Life TV. Listen to stories about Bless.
And the crazy part like that I remember about working at Toys R Us was that they was taking the cashiers, right? The cashiers it was some cashier named Tamika or something like that. And, you know, I ain't really know like that. I just know she was loud as a motherfucking ratchet, right? And she had told everybody that she did the correctional department test, shit like that. And then literally like maybe 3 months later, she was gone. She was on an island working. I'm like, how the fuck do you go from working as a cashier in Toys R Us to being a fucking correctional officer? But hey, who am I to disagree, right? Alexa, down by 1. So that was my first little law enforcement shit, right? You know what I mean? I went from there to Toys R Us. Where we at? So from Toys R Us, I went to construction. I ain't even gonna lie, right? So I went to construction, right? Because again, I'm young, you know what I mean, in and out of jobs, whatever the case may be. And while I was doing some stage setup for Fashion Week, right, in Bryant Park. And Bryant Park Fashion Week was fire. I met 50 Cent, I met Maya, I met Vera Wayne, I met a lot of people, right? But I met them doing security. So when I was first started, I was doing the construction to set up the stage. We outside in the cold, and I ain't really got no construction certificates or nothing like that. So my shit is like, I'm picking up boxes and nails, and I'm like, you know, the helper ass nigga, you know what I mean? And it's brick, and I'm like, yo, this ain't it. It's got to be a better way. I see a little a trailer right there on the side of the corner, right? And the trailer that's the little security housing office type shit for security, because security was doing park security around, you know what I mean, around the event, making sure nobody, you know, do whatever type shit. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm a security guard. Like, let me go see if I can get in where I fit in. Sure enough, I go in there, I meet this brother named Danny Johnson, right? I remember Danny, man. I don't know. I hope Danny is all right, bro. If you see this video, please reach out. If anybody know my man Danny Johnson from Citadel, tell him I said holla at me, man. I love that man, bro. I'm talking about when you meet this man, like this man's spirit just lights you up. Big brother, big teddy bear, man. But he ain't play like that. He was good at what he did. Long story short, from the time that he met me, Danny was like, yo, I see something in you, man. I got you. Give me your number. I'm gonna call you up. So I wait a couple of days and stuff like that. I'm still going to the park doing the stage setup. And you know what I mean? I run into Danny again. He's like, oh, my fault, little bro. I forgot to hit you up. But look, we got something going on tonight. We got an event downtown on 14th Street. What's this, Lincoln? It's not Lincoln Park. I'm gonna plug it in, but it's a little club right there on 14th Street, right up the block from PC Richards, if you know what I'm talking about. And it's been there for years, right? It's Lincoln something like that. Anyway, so he was like, yeah, we got a little event going down there. If you could come down there, I can get you some security work. Sure enough, I'm like, yeah, I'm coming, I'm pulling up. So Danny puts me in the back of the club, right? And I'm pretty much sitting there and I'm like, door nigga, making sure that only the VIPs come in and the musicians get out and stuff like that, whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? But that was like my first like really ill experience on, you know, doing some security shit. So I quickly left the construction shit alone and I got into it with Citadel. I stayed with Citadel from 18 to, I want to say 25. You know what I mean? What's that, 6-7 years, whatever the case may be. And I did so many gigs with them, man. Like, we worked at the Javits Center. If you know about the Jacob Javits Center, that's where they have the car shows at every year, right? And they have a lot of different exhibitions, but we did diamond expositions. So when I did the diamond expositions, I would be working with a bunch of like armed guards, you know what I mean? Ex-cops, ex-military guys and stuff like that, whatever the case may be. So just working alongside them kind of like really put me in this like law enforcement perspective type shit, you know what I mean? Over on the I'm lying. On the west side highway, right? We had a bunch of events that we would do all over there. I was doing the Martha Stewart show. Again, I was doing a lot of diamond shows. We did the sex expo, you know what I mean? Like my mom called me a workaholic, but I was getting to the paper, you know what I mean? Because I come from a place where it wasn't abundant, if you feel what I'm saying. So yeah, I did Citadel for mad years, all the way up until I was hanging out and I got grabbed up by the police for something stupid, and they wouldn't let me renew my license or whatever the case may be, right? Until years later when, you know, they kind of dismissed it. Anyway, I got a colorful history. That's why I want to put you on game. So from Citadel, where did I go? Also from Citadel, I wanted to be a detective, right? I never wanted to be a cop. Never wanted to be a cop. Shout out to the cops and shit like that, but I just feel like it's a stupid fucking job. There's no way I want to go to work every day and be wrestling niggas and just looking for problems and dealing with all the other dickheads that work with them. But I definitely wanted to be a detective ass nigga, right? So what I did was I started researching like where can I get certified, and every time I would get a check, you feel me? After I get my mom's whatever I needed, I would take a portion of my money and go get certified in something different, right? So back then, that was around the 9/11 time and shit like that. They had a bunch of terrorist certifications. They was teaching you how to do a lot of shit, you know what I mean, that they don't even offer right now. So I took all those trainings. I took so many trainings to the point where when I was going to interviews, they didn't want to give me the job because they talking about I'm overqualified. You know what I mean? And I kept running into that. So that's why I went ahead and I found me a store detective course, right? And I went to this class and I think I paid about $360, right? That's a lot for a certificate, especially back then. Because again, I'm telling you, this was a minute ago. I was young. You know what I mean? So I think I had to save like 2 checks. Long story short, I went to that class for about a week and a half. I got certified, got my little my certificate, and they swindled me, right? And when I say swindle, I say the course was literally just show up every day. They give you a test and teach you on some knowledge and shit like that, whatever the case may be. And then at the end of the week, you sign, you get your certificate. And instead of them actually putting you in place and saying, yo, you know what, we connected with this place, this where you gonna work at, they gave me a motherfucking list of companies that hire store detectives and was like, yeah, go ahead, go do your thing. So that turned into me not getting no responses back for a minute. And other people that did respond, they was kind of like, no, we don't recognize this certificate. Like this ain't it type shit. So I'm mad. If anybody know me, I do not like being jerk, especially when it come around some money. You heard? So what I did was I said, all right, we gonna do something. What I did, I can't remember. I think it was Allied. Anyway, I get back with you with whatever the company was. Long story short, I applied for a few of them. Some of them called me back, right? But I stopped applying for store detective position, right? I applied for a security guard position because I knew I could at least get into the interview, right? So I'm at the interview one day, and I'm sitting there, and there's a bunch of other people, and they in their uniforms, and you can tell that they going for the security job position, right? I'm not going for the security job position because, again, I was already working security. I'm trying to upgrade. I'm trying to do better, right? So they call me in. They like, hey, Mr. Gardner, you know what I mean? I come in, right? Blah, blah, blah. It's a young black brother, a little older than me at the time. But long story short, he sit me down. He's like, okay, he's going over my resume. And I said, look, I just want to stop this real quick. I want to make sure that you know that I didn't come here to be a security guard. I came here because I desire to be a store detective. I see that you're half store detectives, and I wanted to see if I can get in. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't able to get an interview, but this is like my desire. Like, I really want to do that. And he looked at me for a second and he said, yo, that's crazy. He said, yo, I like your energy. I like what you got going on. He said, we don't hire store detectives from outside of our company. Like, we only promote them from being security to store detectives. But I'm going to go get my boss and I'm going to let him know what we got going on, and I'm going to see what he say. So about 5 minutes later, he come back with his boss. And, I told the boss the same thing. Like, yeah, I came in, I applied for security, but I just really wanted to speak to somebody personal and let them know that, like, I'm going to be a store detective. And, like, this is what I want to do. And they was very impressed by it. And literally, I was the first person in the company to get hired from outside as a store detective. You know what I mean? And I did my training. My training was it was extensive training for about 4 or 5 months. And I trained under some, I can't remember this dude's name, West Indian dude. He was like, quiet, kind of weird, but cool at the same time. You know what I mean? I'm cool as a fan, so I usually get along with whoever. And they trained me in his store. His store was downtown on Court Street. There's a Barnes and Nobles there, right? It might still be there. I don't know if it's there. But anyway, downtown Brooklyn on Court Street and the Barnes and Noble, I stayed in that store for about 4 months training. And he's showing me how to do things, such and such, blah, 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 until I eventually, got my own store and started doing my own thing. You know what I mean? Being a store detective was one of the funnest jobs I've had. It was also one of the scariest jobs too, because I got a story about that. When this big ass booster came in, this nigga was big as a motherfucker, and you could tell he had his duffel bag, and you know what I mean. Like, I'm sitting back and I'm smooth and shit like that, but he peeped me from the gate, and he was throwing books in his bags and shit like that. He was the only one that was just like ready to straight get to it. Like, yo, I'm taking these books. There's nothing you gonna do about it. Like, it is what it is, such and such, blah, blah, blah. And he ran out the store, long story short. But I did a couple of other, successful, anyway, that's not what the fuck the story about, right? So yeah, I was a store detective. We went from being a store detective to in fact, I'm gonna get back with you. The family. If you enjoying the video, there's more where that came from. I need you to hit that like button. Make sure you comment and share and tap in for the next one, because we got more.